You can't keep getting away with it! He can't keep getting away with it! He won't.
Breaking news. Bryan Kohberger didn't get away with it. Okay, this is coming out today from Idaho, and this is a disaster for all wine mums, law tubers, and anyone that enjoys watching trial coverage, because this has been going on for like 2 years, basically. And I remember, it's actually kind of historic, just to give me a second here. Actually kind of historic, because I remember the first Kohberger back before we even knew who it was. The mystery, it was one of those unimaginable crimes. 4 college students murdered in the middle of the night while they slept, and there was no evidence except for eventually this knife sheath. There was no footprints, there was no eyewitnesses, there was no nothing. In fact, this now may be an unsolved crime if it wasn't for the actions of one person. Do you know who that is? Well, it's not really a person, but it is really. The reason that Bryan Kohberger got caught, and we'll go into the conspiracy theories about him, it's not really Kohberger, and it's later in. Okay, we'll get to that eventually. Okay, this is all the fault of Ancestry.com, allegedly, because the DNA that they found on the knife sheath, the touch DNA from the button, which touch DNA is pretty sus, by the way, but apparently the father put in an Ancestry.com DNA test because he wanted to see what percentage of the chosen people he was or something, as people do, to see if... never mind. But that's how they basically got him. They used this information, and then they lifted it from the pizza boxes when he went back for Christmas vacation or something. It was an insane time, and in this channel, it was one of the biggest streams we ever did. Really, in the replay views, it was 20,000 watches. I was quite impressed, and there was something about it. It was a better time 2 years ago. I remember. Would be there was no LawTube Civil War. Me, Jeff, Farron, and Farron's sister Hannah were all kind of talking about this. It was a good time. But those times are gone, and unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to get the trial coverage that many people were watching for. It was Stephen Gosney. Yes, that's right. It was Stephen Gosney's K-Bar. I'd forgotten about that. Emu Warrior says let down. Yes, we're going to get into that in a second. Actually, I guess I'll just put that now. I've been looking at all the reactions today from, I guess people call them pro burgers. This is I've never heard this before. I kind of tuned out of the case. I was locked into this case. But this is all the people who expected to grift off of Kohberger via YouTube. It's actually funny because there was actually LawTube and law coverage and trial coverage has become, and podcasting true crime and things has become so popular that it's now a dead meme on a dead show, Rick and Morty, where they actually referenced trying to find a gruesome podcast, true crime podcast to listen to when they're stealing shit from a ship or whatever. So it's over. But Bryan Kohberger accepts plea deal in Idaho student murder case. Now, some people are saying that this is only because he was facing the firing squad. Literally, they brought in the death penalty again just to get him. And some people are very upset that that's not what's going to happen. Now, I have heard some of the theories about how he's a good boy, he didn't do nothing. To be honest, it's my opinion that he did it. I will state that some of the things that people have picked up on and how flimsy the state's evidence was is a bit strange, and it's definitely a fun story. But ultimately, my belief is that he did it. There's really no one else I think that could have done it. But, everyone's innocent until proven guilty. However, he has pled guilty, so it doesn't matter anymore. He's getting life in prison, 4 lifetime consecutive sentences, I believe, is what they're going to be doing. Of course, the judge could still reject the plea deal. I think they're coming in Wednesday, which is 2 days for now. It's tomorrow for me, but for 2 days for you. But we'll have to see. But I saw this article. I was looking for a good What is this? Am I muted? No. Good. All right. Whenever I get messages, I assume it's because I'm muted. So I was looking for a good title page to pull this up on, and I found this one, which is a good one. It's a good one. But it was tweeted by this guy that I have no idea about. I have never seen this person. Carmine Sabia. You see, he's got his Christian conservative journalist, editor, radio, TV pundit, Yankees fan in Israel, supporter, followed by Ariana Jacob and Mac and Fox, apparently. So they know who he is. I don't know who he is. But he posted this saying, to all internet and crime law experts who believed Bryan Kohberger was innocent with a mountain of evidence against him, this is why you're on the internet and you're not attorneys. He took a plea deal because he's guilty as sin. First of all, yeah, you get to do your victory lap, guy that I know nothing about, but apparently is quite a big name in this. I don't know, like when I looked at his channel, it was like really, I was like, what the heck? I've never heard of this guy before. But he's getting a lot of fucking views. I don't know who this, he's got 470,000 subscribers, 21 million views a month. So he's a big deal. I have no idea who he is though. But this is such a dumb statement. Oh, people only plead guilty because there's a mountain of evidence against them. No, maybe he's just fucking terrified of being shot. I mean, that's a pretty good reason to take a plea deal. Now, like I said, I think that ultimately he did do it. But this is just a very dumb comment. Especially by a lawyer. It's like, well, I can't believe anyone. Bryan Kohberger had lawyers defending him. I don't know. People always take these opportunities to dunk, and that's fine. That's fine. It's just, this is a very stupid comment. What do you guys rate this comment? Like a 1 out of 10, out of curiosity. Like, he only pled guilty because there's a mountain of evidence in it, because he's guilty. That's the only reason he took the plea, because he's guilty. I believe he's guilty, but that's stupid. That's stupid. Also, please like the video if you're watching us now. So, we have a short recap video, then we'll get into the longer stuff. Breaking: Bryan Kohberger, who killed, allegedly, multiple college students in Idaho in 2022. I thought it was 2 years ago. It's 3 years ago? No, wait, it was 2022 December, right? It was a snowy night, as I recall. So it's almost been 2 years. What have you guys been doing for 2 years? Have you got a new family, a new job? Hope you didn't just fuck around and waste your life for the last 2 years. Or I guess spend it in prison or something. He's just pled guilty to the murder charges. It's M' murder charges. This will allow him to avoid the D' penalty, and there will be no trial. Words, the scream of all of the people that hate White Boy Summer. They're furious now because we were going to have maybe July was going to be a bit slow. That was going to be White Boy Summer, just a quick July White Boy Summer. Now it's spreading out into August. There's nothing to do in August, and we're going to have to wait until October or something for anything interesting to happen. But it's over. There's no trial. It was going to be streamed as well, as I understand it. They battled to get cameras in the courtroom, so it could have been fantastic. I guess everyone's very sad. I'm sure. Never mind. He will serve life in prison. Let's have a look at this. Let's see. Breaking news
coming in from the state of Idaho once again, but on a different story, as News Nation has just learned that the accused killer, Bryan Kohberger, accepted a plea deal. Yeah, a plea deal was offered. He has accepted the deal. Sources are confirming that prosecutors proposed dropping the death penalty. That was the deal in exchange for Kohberger pleading guilty to...
I mean, that's a pretty good deal. Look, we won't kill you. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I think if it was me in that situation, I think I would have chanced it, because you can keep the death penalty, you can keep delaying it for 30 years anyway. Being on death row is essentially the same as being on life sentence. You're going to be there for 20, 30 years anyway with all the appeals. So you may as well just run the gambit and try and get one. You got to get one of those pro burgers on the trial, on the jury trial, and then you're out. You never know, right? So I think if it was, it's easy for me to say that safely in my room with my nice air conditioning on this hot summer day. But I think if it was me, not that I did it, not that I would think about doing it, not that I think I could have got away with it, but if it was me, I think I would have challenged I would have taken it to jury. I think I would have taken it to trial.
committing 4 murders and pleading guilty to burglary as well. So guilty
This
plea
is as
in
loud as it
exchange
goes, I
for no
think.
death penalty. Now, the background on this story, you'll remember he's accused of killing those 4 University of Idaho students at their home. It was back in November of 20.
Do you guys remember like just how much this trial absolutely exploded? Like if you thought the Karen Reed trial was big, I think this one would have been like 5 times larger. It could have, well, it's probably not going to break Johnny Depp numbers, but it would have been big. Like they had people outside the house. You had people just standing there out in the snow. There was that really annoying woman that Legal Vices really hated. I forget her name. I want to say Nancy Cartwright, but is that right? Is that just a random celebrity's name? I don't know. She was really annoying. They had that Bryan guy. I think I've got a clip from him actually. He had like the white hair. He's been covering this for like the last 2 years. And then we had like the 3D maps of the house. We were theory crafting. The mystery was it was quite a thing to solve, right?
2022. Sources say Kohberger must also agree to spend the rest of his life.
All right, I'm way off. Who am I thinking of? It's not Nancy Cartwright. That's the Simpsons. Sorry, I got to sneak the Simpson memes in here now. That was like not on purpose. It's the really oh yeah, Nancy Grace. That's who I'm thinking of. Thank you. Somebody was triggered by it immediately.
Life in prison without any possibility of parole. So jail for life, no parole. But again, no.
I mean, they say that, but a lot can happen in a lifetime. I mean, I figure he's going to die in prison anyway, but like they say that, but we'll see. We'll see about that. Now, I believe that the house was actually demolished. The owners decided that they didn't want it to become part of any folklore or any notoriety, or they didn't want to sell it. So I think they decided to demolish the entire house after all the evidence was collected.
Death penalty. Must waive his right to appeal as part of this as well. Plea deal has been accepted. A court hearing for a change of plea will take place on Wednesday, so in 2 days. So this is just breaking. They'll be covering it in more detail tonight on Elizabeth Vargas Reports and also on Banfield. One of many.
Yeah, so the judge can reject this. I would say it's pretty unlikely, unless the judge is like really, really hyped up for the entire like LawTube coverage or something. Because if the prosecution says we want the deal, the defense says they want the deal, they're very unlikely. Very unlikely. But it's always a possibility. You never know.
Big stories we're covering. Now,
good stuff. All right, let's so. Yeah, this is the first time where I saw the phrase pro burger. It's actually kind of surprising. I didn't think about this before. But there's actually entire groups like Reddits, Facebook groups, Discords that believe that Kohberger is innocent. Now, I believe that he deserved to have his day in court, innocent until proven guilty. And I do think that the information was interesting, but I was not convinced that he was a free man. But some people are very, very convinced that he was a patsy. He was set up. There's no way. He's got the bushy eyebrows, but you can't. I mean, what? It was obviously the surviving roommate or something. Who can say? But no, I think the reality is that he probably did it. Brian Etten said, "I have learned Bryan Kohberger has accepted a plea deal." Actually, I did see a tweet by Hella, and she was a big fan of this trial, and she believed in his innocence. And I think she responded to this saying, "Where's your proof of the alleged journalist?" But that didn't age very well, unfortunately. But I do like Hella, but I think she's missed the mark on this one. I have learned that Bryan Kohberger has accepted a plea deal. Sources confirm the prosecution has proposed dropping the death penalty in exchange for Kohberger pleading guilty. And Massa Guy responded saying, "Watch this. Every pro-burger is going to claim that this plea deal was coerced." I mean, maybe it was, but it's still probably a better deal. He knew he was going to be put to death, and he was just trying to save his life to buy time to prove his innocence. You fucking wait. Like, this has already started, but I think the reality is that it's over. I think it's over, guys. There was this message by this is the Bryan Etten guy. So he was like I think he was like one of the most common on the scene reporters for the trial. Let's see what he says.
More information about the plea deal that has been reached between Bryan Kohberger and
I can turn this up.
I've learned that prosecutors extended this deal out to the defense team last night, and that they told them that that they would be willing to take death off the table if Bryan Kohberger agreed to a life sentence, 4 life sentences, that he agreed to no possibility of parole and that there would be no chance of any kind of appeal.
That's a pretty harsh deal. But I guess, I mean, we won't shoot you is a good, I mean, it is a good bargaining chip, I will agree. Pretty crazy there, actually. I don't know. What would you do, chat? Would you fight? Would you fight and pray that there was one pro-burger on the jury? If you were him, would you fight? Press 1. And if you would take the deal and just hope you can get out of prison by being a good boy for 20 years, press 2 or something.
And Bryan Kohberger's defense team has accepted that deal. What has to happen now is it has to go before the judge. There has to be a change of plea. So even though both sides have agreed, it's up to the judge to approve.
Yeah, a lot of people say they want to fight it.
If both sides have agreed. But there's going to be a hearing now on Wednesday. I'm going to go to Idaho tomorrow. This hearing is going to be Wednesday morning.
I thought this guy never left Idaho. Like, every time I've ever seen this guy, except for the time I think we were doing that Hurricane Watch stream, I think he was in Florida or something. This guy flies all over the fucking country because he's like constantly in Idaho.
When the judge will
it's his job,
hear the change of plea and officially agree to the deal, and then there'll be a sentencing, and the victims' families will be able to talk and give a victim impact statement and that kind of thing. The Gonzalez family has just issued a statement on Facebook. It says, "It's true, we are beyond furious at the state of Idaho. They have failed us. Please give us some time. This was very unexpected. We appreciate all your love and support."
So that's the family of one of the dead students. And I guess they wanted to have their day in court and argue for the death penalty, which I can understand, like if it was your family member. But I mean, at a certain point, he's going to get 4 consecutive life sentences. I mean, what more could you really want? I mean, apart from just him dying.
They are upset because they wanted to take this till the end. They wanted justice. They wanted a trial. They wanted the death penalty. Other families members perhaps felt like a trial was just too much. You got to think about the surviving victims, the roommates, how they...
I mean, to a certain point, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, right? So I feel like they should be celebrating this as a win. You know, he's pled guilty. He's going to go away forever. It's unlikely he'll come out of prison again, but you never know. But if they took it to trial, there was always a chance he would just get away scot-free. So I can understand the anger because they could never bring their daughter back. But, I mean, this is basically as good as it can get, apart from you literally moistening his sponge as they strap him into the chair or something. Or I guess loading the guns in this case.
Felt about having to go through a trial. Keep in mind that with the death penalty, you know, you could sit on death row for 30, 40 years. The appeals keep coming up. It never ends. At the same time, the death penalty does exist, and that's what some of the family members wanted and felt like was deserved in this case. So I know that there are family members who are not happy tonight with this decision. I didn't see it coming. Maybe I don't know. I didn't see this coming until 24 hours ago when I started hearing rumblings. I did not think
Yeah, so there was like... They basically got this plea deal last night, and they accepted it immediately, which doesn't give you a lot of confidence for him being innocent, but you never know. AK says that the Idaho is a ruined state at this point. They don't like people who stand up for their rights, Ruby Ridge, Moscow murders, and now this shooter. They don't like people with similar ethics culture. I mean, there's a lot of weird shit going on in Idaho. I actually do have an update from last night's story where there was the arsonist that started a fire and then shot 2 firefighters. Basically, the sheriff's department is now saying that the firefighters asked him to move his car, and that's why he shot them, which doesn't really make sense from their story yesterday where the firefighters showed up and there's a bunch of snipers, like he was a sniper waiting for them or something. This sounds like, I don't know, like this is a very sus story going over there. But basically what they're saying is he lit a fire. He had his car. He was sitting by his car watching it or something. The firefighters drove up. They're like, "Can you move your car? We gotta stop this blaze." And then he just popped them or something, which doesn't. I don't know. Why didn't they say this yesterday? I don't know why they're saying this. Like it's a bit suspicious to me.
Prosecution was going to want to plea. I thought they were going to want to take this till the end, but here we are.
All right. Now I believe this is by I always get this wrong. The Goncalves family. It's true we are beyond furious at the state of Idaho. They have failed us. Please give us some time. This is very unexpected. We appreciate love and support. Deadbeat Princess Parody says, if the state has the K-Bar purchase receipt like they claim to have DNA on the Chief Kohberger's phone pings near the house and the time of the murder, why would they offer him a plea deal? Think, people, they have no evidence. So this is obviously a pro-Burger person. So she's very pro-Burger. I think didn't I have a link to this as well? Like, I think there was a second part. There was a second part to this. Oh, well. I guess I don't have it, but this is what people are saying, is that to be fair, Touch DNA is very flimsy. That's not the only thing that they had, but apparently there's a DoorDash eyewitness now that I have not seen, because I kind of was really, really into this case for like, I think it was like 2, 3, maybe 4 months when the mystery was going on. Then they caught him. Then it was like, okay, what do they got? This is very interesting. It's getting interesting. And then it was just like, it goes into like most law cases, it goes into hibernation basically, where it's like you've got a year or 2 years of discovery or appeals where nothing happens. And I kind of completely tuned out and stopped going to all the places where people were chatting about it. I stopped cataloging the information. I actually still have a folder on my desktop for Bryan Kohberger. I don't know. Should I open this and see what's inside? I actually can't remember. I haven't opened. Oh, it's just thumbnails, and then like a bunch of stream notes with various like video plans, essentially like some links and some stuff. That I guess I can delete this folder now. So that I guess in the end it kind of paid off for me not actually focusing on this trial. I was gaming up. I was getting people ready. I was like lining up things for people to tell me and like fill me in on the details and everything, and have them explain to me why this was all a sham. But I guess doesn't matter anymore. All right, so this is and let me try this one more time. Gonsalves, is that it? Did I get it right this time? Gonsalves. Family statement. The death penalty is merely an illusion in the criminal justice system. When available, it serves as a bargaining tool for the state. I mean, yes. I mean, I don't disagree with that. And when it's rarely applied, it never enforced due to a highly inefficient appellate process. I mean, is this a bad thing though? You kind of want to be able to appeal your death sentence, because the state does get things wrong quite a lot. So I'm actually kind of okay with now. I don't like the idea of people being on death row forever and just using up resources and everything forever. But the reality is, if we had a perfect world where we could know with 100% certainty someone was guilty, I'd be absolutely for the death penalty. However, the problem is that the state gets things wrong so often that I just don't trust them to have that power. The notion that someone can plead guilty to a crime and still face years of appellate delays reveals a systemic failure. The Latah County Prosecutor's Office treatment of our family during this process is something I wouldn't wish on anyone. I mean, I know they've had a daughter that's dead, and they were kind of like the loudest voice from the victims. But I mean, what do you want at a certain point? We questioned decisions early in the investigation. Why was the mayor commenting on the case? I mean, because it's the county. Why was the coroner speaking to families? Why was an officer with less than 2 years' experience leading the investigation? Why was the University of Idaho involved when they declared it an isolated off-campus incident? Why was the university permitted to write a book about the incident? Well, I mean, people, the books have just begun. There are going to be a lot more books. Probably Bryan. That's one of the things I've heard as well, is that people are like, don't let him go to jail. He's going to write a book. It's like, okay. Why was the university permitted to write a book about the incident while others were silenced under an overly broad order? As a result, we were branded adversaries. So it was no shock how the Latah County Prosecutor's Office mishandled the plea deal. They vaguely mentioned a possible plea on Friday without seeking our input. I mean, it's the state versus Kohberger. It's not the family versus Kohberger. I know they're the ones that are aggrieved, but that's the way it works. And presented the plea on Sunday. Latah County should be ashamed of its prosecutor's office 4 wonderful young people have lost their lives. Yeah, I mean, that's sad, but I mean, what can you do? You can't bring them back. Yet, the victims' families were treated as opponents from the outset. I don't know if this is true. I know that a lot of people told the Gonsalves family to be quiet so they could do their investigation. But I don't know if this is true. The opponent, it was specifically these people. And again, they have a right to be mad, but to a certain point, they probably did get in the way. We weren't even called about the plea. We received an email with an attached letter. That's how the Latah County Prosecutor's Office treats murder victim families. Adding insult to injury, they're rushing to the plea, giving families just 1 day to coordinate and appear at the courthouse for a plea on July 2nd. Well, I mean, that's because the families aren't involved in the plea deal. They're going to go to the hearing where the judge will either accept it or not accept it. Now, I guess the family could appear in the courtroom and make sad eyes at the judge, but I mean, face facts, it's kind of over. Who do they think they are? After more than 2 years, this is how it concludes with a secretive deal. I mean, again, this is just like, I'm sorry, but this just is a lot of butt hurt, and that sounds so mean to say to a family that's lost their daughter, but the plea deal would have been, that's how all plea deals between prosecutors and defense are. Like, you know? Am I crazy here? It was a secretive plea deal and a hurried effort to close the case without any input from the victims' families on the plea details. Our family is frustrated right now, and that will subside. And we will come together as always and deal with the reality that we are facing moving forward. Once again, we thank everyone for their thoughts and prayers. Z. I don't know. I'm going to ask the chat about this. Like, the state had problem with leaks. That is true. Like, the family was giving out a lot of information. I was going to do a poll, but I'm not really quite sure what I would even say, because I think this is just, sometimes when you see someone that has gone through something traumatic, and this is traumatic for them, I don't want to downplay that, you kind of just have to stand and wait for them to kind of scream all of the anger out. I'm sorry, but the Gonsalves family is not the prosecutors. They weren't entitled to be a part of these plea deals. The prosecutor gave an offer. It was pretty harsh, about as harsh as you can get, provided not the death penalty. Basically, they got everything except the death penalty. 4 consecutive life sentences, no parole, and giving up the ability to appeal. What more could they really want for? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like they're just drop the charges to shut up the dad. Maybe. This is my question. What do they, I mean, I know what they want. They want to be the ones loading the rifles when he's standing for the firing squad, which, you know, if we knew 100% of the cases, I think they would have the right to do that. Because once you take away someone's life, you can never give it back. But since the world of information is not perfect, especially in this case, because he does have a defense. It's very, there is some very curious details about this. Apparently, Emily DeBaker read the judge's brief. She was salty over the defense's behavior. Really? You mean Kohberger's defense? What was she salty about? All right, let's see. So this is a bit of a... I'm not paying for the New York Times. You've got to be ridiculous. Surprise deal is reached in the Kohberger murder case. Bryan Kohberger, a former criminology student. That's a detail I actually forgot. Is that this guy was like... And some people say that this is the motivation for him to actually do this, is that he was like, well, I study crime. Maybe I can get away with it. Again, it is a very strange case. Like, he seemed to have no connection to any of these people. He is charged with stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. Prosecutors said that they had reached a plea deal that avoids the death penalty. Now, I believe he actually walked through this door, is what they were saying. because there was a roommate, like there was like, as I recall, I'm going from memory, so if I get this wrong, let me know. There's like essentially 3 stories of this house. You've got these 2 like lofts up here. You've got the main level, and you've got like this kind of like semi-basement. I don't know what Americans call it, but there's like a little room here, and I believe there was a bathroom over here. And allegedly, Kohberger walked through this door with the bushy eyebrows, and the survivor, was it Dylan, the survivor? She said that she saw him, and he walked right past her. Now, it was a dark night, like I think it was like 4 a.m. or something. It's possible he just did not see her. So she saw a spooky boogeyman in the night. She froze, obviously flight or fight, or freeze. And she froze, and for whatever reason, he walked past her. Then he went up the stairs, and well, you know what the rest of the story. So there was kind of these weird details like that. Bryan Kohberger, a man charged in the brutal stabbing of 4 University of Idaho student deaths, reached a plea deal to avoid the death penalty, according to letter that prosecutors sent to relatives and the victims. Mr. Kohberger had been sent to go to trial on murder charges in August, nearly 3 years after the killings, which occurred at the residence near the University of Moscow, Idaho. A plea hearing is set for Wednesday. In a letter to the victim's family on Monday, prosecutors said that Mr. Kohberger's defense team asked for a plea offer last week. Okay, so it was actually, that's interesting. So they actually are, they're just like, look, we don't, let's just get this over with. Under the proposed agreement, which must be approved by the judge in the case, Mr. Kohberger would plead guilty to all the charges, face 4 consecutive life sentences, and waive all rights to appeal. The family of Kaylee Gonsalves, one of the victims, criticized the prosecution team for failing to consult with the family. Some of them had worked to change Idaho law to allow the firing squad as a form of capital punishment. I remember when that came in. I actually think I was talking to Jeff about this. And we were kind of having a bit of a giggle. They're like, wait, what the fuck? This guy could actually just be shot? And we were just kind of talking about how it's crazy because it came back on the table. After more than 2 years, that's how this concludes, with a secretive deal and a hurried effort to close the case without any input for the victims. Families in the plea deal, the Gonsalves family said in the statement. In their letter, the family's prosecutors wrote that the plea deal was for our sincere attempt to seek justice. I mean, they got it though. I mean, like I said, unless some fireworks happen on Wednesday. The agreement ensures that the defendant will be convicted, will spend the rest of his life in prison, and will not be able to put you or other families through uncertainty of decades of post-conviction appeals, they wrote. Your viewpoints weighed heavily in our decision-making process, and we hope that you may come to appreciate why we believe this resolution is in the best interest of justice. Prosecutors did not respond to messages seeking comment, nor did lawyers for Mr. Kohberger. The families of the other victims did not comment immediately on the proposed agreement. Mr. Kohberger, now 30, see, that's why I couldn't be this person, because I am much older than that, was a criminology PhD student at Washington State University, about a 20-minute drive from the crime scene. He grew up in Pennsylvania and studied psychology in college. He was arrested in December 2022 at his parents' home in the Ponoco Mountains area of Pennsylvania about 6 weeks after the killing. So it was, the 6 weeks. That was a wild time. Mr. Kohberger's defense team tried unsuccessfully for months to undermine key pieces of evidence that investigators collected against him. Prosecutors said that the DNA was found on a knife sheath recovered at the crime scene. The weapon was never recovered, though. And we kind of concluded, like, I remember looking at the maps of Idaho, and if I, let me see. Maybe I still have this from memory. Idaho, Moscow, Idaho, right? Let's have a look at the town map. And it was kind of crazy. Wait, is this the right Moscow? Yeah. Let's open this up in maps. Okay. And there's the University of Idaho. Yeah, that's right. So I remember we were going through these, at some point. So the universities, like I might get this wrong, but the university is over here. I believe the house was along somewhere in this area. But there was a kind of a weird thing where, like, Bryan kind of went out for a drive, and I think he went, like, down one of these roads. Maybe it was this one. And then he did, like, a big loop around here, and then he, like, came back, or something to that effect. It was, again, like, this is a while ago, so I may have completely forgot. Or was he driving from Pullman? Was that it? But there was like this big stretch of time where he had like shut off his phone, which isn't illegal. But we kind of came to the conclusion on those streams that he probably ditched the murder weapon along one of these areas. And I think there's like a lot of like these little rivers and things like along these sort of drives. So like maybe like along one of these, maybe he was like down this highway or something and just lobbed it out. Although murderers usually like to keep mementos. So there might be like a little tin box or something that's going to be pulled up like 10 years from now that just like under one, like a tree along one of these roads or something. And it's just like, you know, buried in a little tin or something. At least that's what I remember from it. Where were we? Yeah, so that was the DNA because they never found the knife, but it was the K-bar knife sheath at the crime scene. And the records showed that he had purchased a knife of a kind of matching with the sheath in the months before the killings. Now, this is the Amazon web history. And apparently the pro-burgers said that this should be just completely thrown out. I would suggest that if you're a criminology student and you're premeditating a crime, don't use Amazon. But everything's online these days. I guess he's too lazy to go out to the hardware store or something. Video footage showed a car similar. So this is another problem, as the car was similar, not the same, to his circling the neighborhood around the time of those deaths, and that was around 4 a.m. Investigators have yet to suggest a motive or offer any details of how the victims were chosen. And now the thing is that a lot of people are going to be upset about in this is that it's very unlikely at this point that Kohberger will ever give his reasons or his story about how it happened. And for a lot of the true crime buffs or the trial watchers and stuff, that's kind of like what they were really looking for, is like the definitive answers. And unfortunately in life, many times it's unsatisfying. All he really is going to go in there and say, yes, I murdered these 4 people. It was me. He's not going to talk about why. I mean, he might, but it's very unlikely. I guess he might write a book in a couple of years' time or something, and I guess maybe you can find out from that. The DoorDasher was probably going to... Yeah, I know about the DoorDasher. I don't know very much about the DoorDasher, but like they were going to place him in the scene. I mean, that was just their recollection of it, though. It's not, again, it's not perfect. There's all these like imperfect pieces of information, but it's important because he's pled guilty. But the motive is going to be one of those things that remains like most likely a mystery for a very long time. 4 college girls that he had no connection to. Why would he do it? Why would he choose them? How did he know about the house? All of these questions are probably going to remain unanswered. Mr. Kohberger's lawyer filed a flurry of motions in recent months, including one trying to bar prosecutors from seeking the death penalty. In part, they said, because Mr. Kohberger had been diagnosed with autism. Now, wait a minute. How did I miss this detail over the last few months? Is this a legal defense? Can I use this? Am I scot-free now? Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. Oh dear. Look, there's another man that can't be put to death because of autism's reason. So it's Sean. He says, I thought they destroyed my house in Minecraft. No, in real life. In real life. So they unsuccessfully sought to delay the trial, arguing that their team had not enough time to comb through the vast amount of evidence in this case. This is always a problem. This is always a problem when the state has an unimaginable amount of power. But they're the ones that did ask for the plea in the end. But the judge ordered jury selection to commence on August 4th. We are so close. We are so close to another 6 weeks of trial streaming, chat. Well, I mean, not me. We are so close to 6 more weeks of me drinking and watching other people's trial streams, at least the highlights. Just hours before the news of the plea deal on Monday, one of Mr. Kohberger's lawyers was in court in Pennsylvania, where she successfully argued that 2 witnesses who knew Mr. Kohberger as a teenager should be forced to testify at the trial, even though they did not want to. Why? Now, this is a strange detail. A lot of people said that Kohberger was a weird boy. They had all these, like, as you do in these sort of cases, as soon as people find out about him, they start Facebooking him, trying to find people from the high school to say how he was a weirdo. I remember didn't we watch a video where there was that one like chick who said that she went on a date with him or something, or like she was on a group friend date and he was like really icky or something. He wouldn't even pay for the whole meal. Well, actually, I made that detail up. But I remember that there was that one chick who was just like sharing pictures of herself with like Kohberger in the background, and she was like, "I knew him. I found that to be a pretty grimy, honestly. Like, it's like, look at me, I'm right behind the next American Psycho. But yeah. Mr. Kohberger has been in jail since his arrest. Holy shit, that's like almost 3 years. His lawyers have given him a few hints about what the defense had planned to offer, but had said that he was out driving on the night of the murders. Now, that's never a good thing to say. Even though it's perfectly fine to go out driving, but it's not a good alibi. In the years before the killings, Mr. Kohberger indicated that he was interested in studying criminals. Well, now he's going to be studying them up close, so congratulations. In a message to a friend in 2018, he wrote that he would like a job dealing with high-profile offenders. Well, I mean, it's like one of those monkey paw wishes. Well, you got what you wanted. A few months before the murders, he posted on Reddit asking people... Oh, I forgot about this detail, right? A few months before the murders, he posted on Reddit, so he was a Redditor, so okay, that's convinced me that he's guilty. Asking people who had spent time in prison to describe their thoughts, emotions, and actions from the beginning to end of the crime process. Remember there was like that mysterious Reddit account? There was like a mysterious Reddit account called, I believe, Inside Looking, and they had these theories about the trial case, and then like people were like, yo, wait up, hold up, is this actually the guy? And he's like, his timing of logging into Reddit or something was like suspiciously eerily similar. I think he ended up deleting his account. We never got confirmation on whether that was his secret Reddit account, but it's a very high likelihood that as he was already a Redditor, and this was such a Reddit fiasco, like I think there's like 5 or 6 Kohberger Reddits, including one of them I think I have a link to somewhere. Called Justice for Kohberger, which this is not aged very well. This is not aged very well at all. So it's likely and in fact probable that he was upvoting people's theories about the murders on Reddit. Reddit is full of weirdos and psychos. This is true as well. This is very true. Where was I? Investigators have said that the murders happened sometime around 4 a.m. on November 13th. The victims, Mrs. Gonsalves, 21, Madison Mogan, Xana Canoodle, and Ethan Chapman had spent the typical Saturday night out by the university campus and returned to the house in the early hours of Sunday. A roommate who survived the attack said she had heard what sounded like crying coming from the room of one of the women. She later told police that she had opened her door and seen a man with bushy eyebrows. Oh my God, it's him. That confirms it. In black clothes and a mask. The man left the house and the roommate and began texting with another surviving roommate downstairs before taking refuge in her room. That's a very strange detail as well. But neither she nor anyone else called the police until more than 7 hours later when the friend came to the house and discovered the body of the victims. And this is why Dylan being the murderer was like a very popular theory for the pro-burgers, or at least being somehow attached to it. Is that the end of the article? I was hoping that includes some more. Oh, well, there we go. Luigi has bushy eyebrows. That is indeed true. He does. I'm going to put the poll back up again of, do you think he did it? It's completely irrelevant now, but I'm kind of curious. What do the chat says? I don't trust Reddit or 4chan. I mean, that's a good advice. That's a good advice. What is this? I'm new to this channel. Is this a biased channel, or can we have an honest discussion? I don't know what you mean by this. What do you mean biased? By who? Are you a pro-burger? I mean, I don't give a shit really either way. This is a channel where we do whatever we want and we just kind of have fun and look at things that we're interested in. The reality is that I think Kohberger did it. but I think he probably should have had his day in court. Now, he decided, or his his defense team decided, that his defense was going to be so bad that they would just take the best deal they could get, and that was just, we won't shoot the guy. So, I mean, I don't know exactly what you want. This is always a lower channel, by the way. I mean, it's a bit of a meme, right? But it's kind of funny because this is some of our first streams were literally talking about this case, and it's kind of come full circle. This is a Christian channel, so no bad words. Okay, I'll do my best. All right, let's have a look. What is this one I got? Let's listen to the news talking about it while we listen to the chat.
We have some breaking news here on ABC News Live Reports. I'm Alex Brachet in Washington. Right now, we are following news out of Idaho. Bryan Kohberger, accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students in 2022, has accepted a plea deal. ABC News has
83% so far. You got to get your votes in. Alan Civil Law in the chat says this is more of a law channel than some law tubers that will go unnamed. Well, I mean, we just cover things that we think are interesting. We try and use our best reasoning sometimes. Sometimes the reasoning is that the funniest thing is what's true. That's the only thing I really believe in.
Confirmed that he has agreed to plead guilty to all counts. ABC News Live anchor Kana Whitworth is on the phone with us. She has been following this case from the beginning. And Kana, what details can you share with us about how this deal came together?
Yeah, Alex, I mean, this is simply a stunning
There are some
in a case
some
that
even
has
chat,
gripped
though.
this
Dozens of you.
entire nation. Up until today, we were looking at an August 18th trial date with Bryan Kohberger's life on the line. What we know now from families who received a letter is that...
Are these really bushy eyebrows? I mean, these look like normal eyebrows. Girl bros in the chat, please respond. Is this like a regular amount of eyebrow or something? I think this is pretty normal. You know what? Like all of my memories of Kohberger are coming back. Do you remember there was that guy? There was like a bald guy or something with a puppy, and he was like a law coverage guy. He wasn't a lawyer. I think he was just a true crime guy or something. And like he literally fabricated evidence. Like he faked a phone call, and then he was playing it on his. I think he's got his channel deleted for that. And it was like 100,000 subscribers or something. What was that guy's name? I forgot. It's probably not important, but it is what it is.
Bryan Kohberger has accepted a plea deal. In part of this plea deal, the defendant will plead guilty to all counts listed in the indictment. So that is 4 counts of murder as well as a burglary count as well. He will serve 4 life sentences consecutively with no possibility of parole. And the defendant will waive all rights to appeal this conviction.
He's probably not smiling anymore. Like this is probably the last time you'll see his smile and optimism gone, I would imagine. He's about to get gaped in prison.
As well. It also sounds like they will be seeking some restitution for families. This is thing.
What phenotype? Unironically, I think that Bryan Kohberger looks like a very normal dude. Like, this is like one of the most normal faces I can kind of imagine. Am I wrong about this? I mean, I kind of hate it when you get people who are like, I look at his face and I can just tell he's guilty. That's the face of a murderer. I can see with those lifeless eyes, like a doll's eyes, that he absolutely... And it's like, no, you can't. Stop it. No, you can't. He looks like me. No, he doesn't. Stop saying that. That's defamation. That's defamation. He looks like Patrick Bateman. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. I look like a normal person too. What are you guys worried about? But like, I think there's a whole group of people that like to believe that they can just look at someone and just know that this is a murderer. Maybe it makes them feel safer about going out into the world or something. And I think this is a big issue with the body cam analysis. Oh, sorry, not body cam. Sorry, Freudian slip there. Oh no, I'm giving away my deepest desires. Body language analysis. Now, I only know one body language person, Eric Hunley, and he's a great guy. I like him as a person. But I have to say that I think his entire profession is kind of basically snake oil. Because I'm sorry, like it's like, so you see these reports where it's like Bryan was in court and his nose twitched when Xana was mentioned. It's clearly he's guilty. It's like, I don't know. I mean, he's probably just, his nose is twitching because it's dry in the courtroom or something. But they're selling people these courses, and I don't know if Eric does this or not. I don't think so. I literally know very little about him at all. So, like I said, I just don't want to disparage him, but I don't believe in body language science. I think that's all bullshit. But I think that there's like this group of people that think that like, and I think with men, they try and think that like if they learn kung fu, they'll be able to take on like 10 people or something. But I think with like especially women, they think that if they learn body language analysis, then they can detect all of the psychos in life, and they'll be safe when they go out in a dark street, or they'll be able to detect like the next tech genius or something. The reality is that people just, maybe they're just thinking about a funny meme or something, or it's a dry courtroom, or maybe he's just terrified that he was going to be shot. And that's why he reacted like that. I don't think you can really gather very much of anything that's credible for body language analysis. That's like a personal thing for me. Is like, I don't know. I feel like it's all bullshit. It's essentially crystals, the same as crystals for me. But I'm sure all the crystal people and all the body language people in chat, they knew that I was going to say that because I look like the kind of person that wouldn't believe in body language.
Like money for funeral expenses and victims' compensation. The next thing that's happening, Alex, is there will be a change of plea hearing, and that is this Wednesday, July 2nd.
They got me.
And so for some, this may be some finality and some closure. For others, you have to imagine, Alex, there are so many unanswered questions in this case, and I'm sure that there's fear that those questions will remain unanswered. But here we are.
I mean, it's not really fear. It's just like a lingering frustration and annoyance, because there are these questions. The motive is the biggest one. His connection to the victims is a very large one. How maybe he didn't know the layout of the house, but he seemed to navigate it very well.
After more than 2 years, the one and only suspect in the Idaho college murders case, the man who stood accused of murdering Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonzalez, and Ethan Chapin. His name is Bryan Kohberger, and he has accepted a plea deal.
Well, and
look, I'm not thin enough to be this guy, okay? That's the only thing that chat can agree on.
Listen, Kana, of all the trials it feels like we've been keeping track of over the last several weeks, this was the one that we anticipated was at least going to have some sort of resolution later on in the year at the earliest. But for our viewers that are just kind of catching up, can you walk us through what the past several months have been like with this case?
I mean, it's probably this. There's definitely a problem with looking at things from the outside, where you see pieces of information and you think that they have to mean something. Like an example of this is that I believe in the days or the weeks leading up to the murders, there was an animal of some description, maybe a cat or a dog, that I think was skinned and like maybe had its heart removed. And it happened I think a couple miles away from the house. And people are like saying, well, I mean, that has to be connected to this. Of course it has to be. Because that's kind of like the TV logic, whereas like, what is it, Chekhov's gun or something, where if you include a piece of information, it has to be for something. And I think a lot of people kind of see these details or these questions, and they kind of think of it like this, like a narrative, where sometimes the simplest answer is, and most often the simplest answer, is just the reality. I have my curiosities and I have my thoughts. I feel like this would have had to be premeditated. He wasn't just driving around looking for a house or something. Maybe he was. It was like 4 a.m. He was driving around. He saw the lights on. The girls were texting. They were waiting for their DoorDash. And maybe he just saw an opportunity and took it. A lot of criminals are just opportunistic. What do you guys think? What do you think his motivations was? A lot of people went with the motivation that he was like scorned or an incel, or he wasn't invited to the parties or things like that. I don't think so. I think like maybe if I had to tell you what I really think, I think he was just the kind of guy that probably thought he could get away with it. Like he thought he was smarter than the average criminal. He was studying criminals. He literally wanted to talk to criminals. That's why he was messaging people on Reddit. He was doing maybe he was going to write his thesis on this or something. He was a PhD student, and having a murder happen right near him could have been very good material for his work. And maybe that was it. Maybe he just thought he was too smart to get away with that he could get away with it.
It's been tumultuous.
Women are easy targets. The thing is, he might not necessarily have known there was any women in the house at all. Like if he had no connection to the victims and he saw lights on, but he couldn't, and the curtains were closed, he didn't necessarily know that there was women living in that location. He could have been opportunistically going through looking for any victim. And he did kill one man in this as well, but he left the dog alive, right? So there you go. He's not a complete monster.
Been filing after filing and pushback from the defense, initially trying to delay the trial. They have maintained their client's innocence this entire time.
They wanted
to have the death penalty taken off the table. They tried many times unsuccessfully for that to happen. In the meantime,
I think this is, if I recall correctly, there is a balcony up here. Like there's a balcony behind this, and that kind of leads up into the bushes. And my original theory was that he would either came in through the door, gone up the staircase, gone through the house, and then left through the balcony. Because like it's kind of spooky when you actually see the house. I think if you visit it on Google Maps, it's been blurred out now. But there's almost like a perfect way to escape through this dark and spooky like tree line, that if you parked like, half mile away or something, you'd be able to approach the house, kind of follow the tree line down here, look through all of the windows. I mean, maybe he did. I guess it was never really decided. He could have done that, I suppose. But yeah, like from this house, there's a road that goes up this way, and I believe there's like student dormitories over this side. And the light was broken, as I recall. But you could actually walk all the way around here and look into the house. So it's definitely possible that he could have done that, but we don't ultimately know. It does make for a good story, a good spooky bedtime story. But this is, I mean, I hate to say it, but like if I was premeditating it, that's what I'd be doing. So take that as you will. But yeah, like there was and I believe that the porch sliding door was open as well, like, or was unlocked, because that's where the doggo had his little bed. You're forgetting he's an American. He's too lazy to walk when they can drive. How much walking do Americans do a day, like unironically? I do like 10 to 20,000 steps on average, despite my weight. Barco with a 10 says, Bryan Kohberger takes a plea deal. Same week Ethan Klein chills and kills live streaming of trials. Wait, did he? Did Ethan Klein give up on his court cases? Bryan Kohberger decided if his trial couldn't be live streamed by Ricada, he did not want a trial at all. Speaking of law tubers, I actually have a fun little clip here, which is kind of funny. Let's play this. It's got legal mindset in it.
We have claims from his son that indeed the system and also the lawyers covering it, like myself, are not being objective. So I want to get into.
Are there other law tubers? I have only ever heard of legal mindset. Is this guy the Asmongold of like lawyer tubers?
So there you go. he's the do I have to play? Do I play the thing? All right, I'll play the thing. Where is it?
Legal mindset. Legal mindset. Legal dick suckers, more like it.
I'm gonna say that next time I see him, I think I should be seeing him in like a week or two, actually, unironically. I'm gonna call him the Asmongold of law tubers. That's so funny. That's so funny. But unironically, legal mindset is actually just like taking over like the entire, I guess, what do you call it? Like the commentator, or there's like law tube, like there's an entire group of law tubers, but they all cover like real cases and stuff. Not that I'm trying to say that he's not covering real cases, but in like the Twitch sphere, influencer sphere, the LA crowd, or the hype people, it seems like he's cornered the entire market somehow. Like every time someone's like he's replacing legal. It's crazy. I mean, good for him. I'm happy for him. I'm just saying it's very it's kind of interesting to see he's becoming such such an authority in the community of young people that watch streams, essentially. The sector law, the grift sphere. No, it's I wouldn't want to call it that. It's more like the I don't know. It's like the Zoomosphere or something. I don't know what we call it. Anyway, good for him. I mean, the Gonsalves family was not acting like a gagged family. Yeah, see, here's the back area. We can kind of go around, and like there was if you were turning 180 degrees, you would have seen like a student dormitory with I don't know, like 50 people or something. But there was like a light there, and it was completely broken. And you could come around here, and you can actually see kind of the top of the window frame here, so you can kind of just literally stand in the darkness and look into the house, which maybe that's why it became the target. Oh, video muted, great, brilliant, thank you, chat.
Of this case has been shrouded in secrecy. We thought that it was going to go to trial in Moscow, and then it got moved back to Boise,
let's start again.
And then it got pushed back yet again. And so,
I mean, yeah, they were going to move the trial as well many times, but like, it's impossible to find a non-biased judge and jury in this case because it was so well publicized.
Here we are now, about a month before this trial was supposed to start, and we have learned that instead of a trial, there will be a plea deal.
And Kenna, do we know that in this plea deal, was there anything that was taken off the table? Was
like literally just one thing, death? Okay.
The death penalty taken off the table?
The death penalty is taken off the table. So exactly, in exchange for pleading guilty, the death penalty will be taken off the table. It's a pretty standard cut and dry plea deal. There weren't very many concessions, which you have to imagine there may have been families out there that wanted concessions like that.
They say reject the first offer. They were very happy to take this. Maybe negotiate next time.
And the other thing is, because we just saw your interview earlier today with the friends of some of these victims. I don't know if you've had a chance to speak with them since this news, but for our viewers, how are they hoping to remember their best friends?
Let's see. The one family is very upset. I can see why, but you don't get any info. No real closure here. Yeah, he just did it. I mean, the closure is that this guy's going to prison forever. That's about as good as you can get. Like, they can say that they wanted the death penalty, and I'm sure they do. I'm like, if my child was murdered, I would want the death penalty as well. But like, they shoot? So let's say they shoot Kohberger. Then what? It doesn't bring their daughter back, so they're not going to be happy after that. This is about as good as a situation you could hope for, honestly. And like I said, a bird in the bush is worth two in the hand. So if they took this to trial, there is a potential that it's a mistrial, or one of the jury members is like, or a bunch of the jury members is just really biased because they've been reading about this case for the last almost 3 years, and they could be like really deep on the conspiracy theories and the pro-burger side or whatever. So I mean, bro, if he took this to trial, he absolutely could have got out. That's every time you take a court case, there's a potential for that to happen. So I feel like while the family is upset and they're kind of, they're acting out because their daughter can't come back. And again, that's sad. But this is essentially the best thing that they could have hoped for in terms of justice.
It's so important, after speaking with Emily Allant and Hunter Johnson, the two that were the first to arrive at that King Road home, that the world remember their friends for how they lived their lives and not for their last day, not for how they died. I had a chance to speak with Ethan Chapin's entire family as well, and their family motto is to live like Ethan. He was a beaming, bright ray of sunshine. All of these kids were really described in that manner, and that's what's the most important here, is that we remember these kids, we remember how they lived, and we don't lose sight of the families here. Maybe there's...
All right. Are these bushy eyebrows? Like, I gotta be honest, like these eyebrows are way bigger than Kohberger's. These are just regular woman eyebrows, right? But I could not tell you the difference between Kohberger's eyebrows and this guy's eyebrows. I don't know. This bushy eyebrow, people go on about it quite a bit.
finality here, but they never get to wake up with their kids ever again.
Yeah, that's a great reminder. I remember in that interview hearing one of the friends talking about how they really kind of rejected this label of the Idaho Four, because you had four individuals who had, different personalities and very much their own identities here, and that's something that we certainly don't want to lose. Kana, if you don't mind sticking around, I want to bring in our legal contributor Bryan Buckmeyer, who's also with us right now. And Bryan, first off, did this deal surprise you?
All right, I have to criticize these men because you can see this man on the left. He's got his black lavalier mic over his black jacket. That's what you're supposed to do. Who puts a black lavalier mic over a green or tweed jacket? You got to put it inside the black shirt. Come on now. Sorry, I get a bit triggered by lavalier mics.
Oh, Alex, absolutely. This is shocking and surprising for a number of reasons. Now, whenever you have a death penalty case, the major issue or major concern that a defense attorney will have is trying to get that off the table. And so understanding there's a plea deal where Bryan Kohberger will not be put to death, especially in a state that has such, let's say, wide-reaching ways in which they can employ the death penalty, that makes sense. But he's still going to die within prison. I mean, this sentence is 4 consecutive life sentence. No one lives that long, especially not in prison. So I would have thought, based on the offer that was given, he would have still have gone to trial because it's death one way or another.
This guy's actually really reasonable, apart from his lavalier mic choice placement. And this is what I said towards the earlier part of the stream, is that I think I would have taken the deal. I think I would have taken the fight because, like I said, there's always a chance. Whereas dying in prison doesn't sound very nice. But if you get the death penalty, again, it's still going to be 10, 20, 30 years with all the appeals and all of the... and you never know if the law's going to change as well. Like the death penalty could literally come off the table in the time that Bryan was on death's... what is it? Death Road or what? What is it called? Shit, I forgot. What is the Green Mile? I don't know. So, I mean, yeah, like from just like a gamer point of view, and not to say like video game, but like, you're trying to game the system essentially. Death Row, thank you. Yeah. Why did I forget that? I think I would have taken the chance. We'll do that as so it's a blowout of the poll. 84% think they did it. If I'm going to ask one more poll, this will be the last poll. I like doing the polls. I know the chat doesn't like them as much as I do, but if you were Bryan, would you fight the case? Because, I mean, what are you going to fucking do in prison for, you're going to be like Vitali dying in prison? I think I heard that Vitali actually got bail, but then he got sent back to prison again anyway. All right. Hey, how's it going, Brandon, the anime guy? Haven't seen you in a while.
Well, and also the timing of this, Bryan. I mean, is there anything to glean from that? We talked about that August 18th trial date.
Hold on. Can we get a poll on if O.J. Simpson did it while we're at it? Not while I'm in the room with these two gentlemen.
Essentially.
Yeah, so plea deals always get their best the closer you get to trial. And there's a number of factors that go into it. If you think about it from a defense attorney's side of view or even the defendant's point of view, they're getting nervous. They're getting worried. Whether you're innocent or guilty or you believe yourself one way or the other, having your life in the hands of 12 people that you've never met before can be very, can shake you to your core in many ways. And for the government, they're thinking about putting...
I mean... Allegedly, this man knifed 4 people. I think he's probably going to have nerves of steel in the courtroom, honestly.
On these witnesses, putting on people who are going to testify about some of the most horrific events that happened probably in this community and putting the family through this all. And so they're thinking about sparing the family. Now, we know at least to some degree that a letter must have been sent to the families to okay this. And so the families, at least on their face until we hear otherwise, presumably were okay with this offer that Bryan Kohberger would spend the rest of...
Actually, a very interesting split. It's almost 50-50. That's kind of interesting. For the people that said they would take the plea and spend the rest of their lives in prison, why? If you could tell me in the chat. I'm very curious. Is it because you think that it's just better to be alive in prison? Or is it because you think that, you'll have the opportunity to somehow get out early or something.
His natural life in prison without having to be subjected to the photos, the testimony, and the imagery.
How are your nerves? Better after today. I'll say that.
That would have come from this trial.
What do you make of his defense team's strategy in this case?
I think it made sense. This is a defense team that was a public defender office from a neighboring county facing a death penalty case. And what you do with that is you fight zealously and vigorously to save that person's life. And in some regards, and in many regards, actually, they achieved that here. Bryan Kohberger will not be put to death by the state and instead will spend the rest of his natural life behind bars. And in a death penalty case, as I said earlier, that is in many ways a victory. And you make every argument you can, not just for the trial court, but also for appeals. And I think with here, they're going to walk away saying their client accepted a deal. Their client obviously knew, or hopefully knew what they were facing, understood what they were facing, and we'll find out on July 2nd if this actually happens, because a plea doesn't happen until they actually say the words. There have been many instances where people agree to a plea deal and then ultimately reject it at the 11th hour or close to the 12th hour there. And so I think the strategy made sense. They got in many regards what they were looking for, and I think we'll see what happens on Wednesday.
All right. Our thanks to Bryan and Kana. But yes, breaking news today, according to a letter sent to the victim's family, Bryan Kohberger has agreed to plead guilty on all counts. He will be sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences and waives the right to appeal. Be sure to catch Kana's ABC sentences and waives the right.
Hold on, I'm going to bring this into the crime lab for just a second. Because this man has blue eyes. This news reporter has blue eyes. I'll prove it to you. One blue this way, one blue that way. Okay? Sorry, it's me. But it's a little bit obvious. All right. So 55% said they would fight the case in this. All right, for the people that would rather spend life in prison than risk getting out free, would you rather spend 10,000 years in a tesseract where it's like living death, but you get out alive after 10,000 years, or would you rather fight the case? All right, so this is the Justice for Kohberger subreddit. Now, they've been blown the fuck out. The moderators of this subreddit are probably they're probably about to grab their own K-bar knives. But they said, let's discuss this case without being dicks. I want to have a meaningful conversation about this case. I'm not going to lose sleep over whether or not he did it or not, alone or with others. This case is interesting for a number of reasons. I always knew the biggest takeaway from this case was how handled it was. And we need better handling for police when they enter a crime scene. Well, I mean, I think you can always agree with that. That keeping information from the public only leads to speculation. I mean, the public are going to speculate either way. Confusion and mistrust, it is also critical or crucial for all of us to know our rights. That is true as well. Know how the courts work and how to navigate through this system. I work in death care, and I have seen absolute devastation when a family goes through when they're making arrangements for a child who has been brutally murdered. No matter if he confesses or gives all the details, there is no closure. This is what I said. Like, obviously you want to know, but it's probably not going to bring your family back. And that is why the state needs to unseal all the documents. I mean, all the law tubers are going to agree with this, right? This is why the state needs to unseal all the documents and tell the families all the public want to know. Plea deals aren't justice. I disagree with this. I absolutely disagree with this. So how do we get justice for this crime? What justice is this? What does it look like? Plea deals can be justice. I mean, like I said, this man is going to die in prison in all likelihood. So I wanted to see through some of what the Justice for Kohberger people are saying. So let's see. I am shocked. I honestly thought he had a chance, since there was no hard evidence. They couldn't exactly determine the year of the car. Cell phone pinging near the house didn't prove he was there, and even the stealth touch with DNA could have been lost or stolen. The DoorDash girl, I thought she was tripping on something when I saw that video of her, and the conversation with the cop who said he wouldn't have pulled her over if he knew it was her. I honestly thought Kohberger was being framed. Taxi driver who brought the girls home was his neighbor, and wife worked for Moscow PD. All the evidence they withheld and then taken over the course of the an action, and the two roommates, the 9/11 call. It's all so bizarre. I mean, this is true, but I think this person has run away, has feisty beginnings, has run away in their own little fantasy world, I think. Part of me is wondering if he pled guilty because he didn't have the time to bring up the other suspects and the judge just barred it. Did he do this to avoid the death penalty? I mean, he absolutely did. What are you talking about? Of course he did. And then come back on appeal when they figure out everything out? He's done. I cannot believe this turn of events, especially after DoorDash girl came into the picture. Whose glove was in the front driveway? Whose DNA was under the victim's nails? 3 different profiles. I mean, the average person, unless you're like me who's never touched another person in their entire life, has other people's DNA under their fingernails, just from like shaking hands or picking up things that are handed to you or just touching a shirt that was left on your table, things like DNA spreads crazy. Why did they tear the house down? I mean, they teared the owners of the house did not want the house to become like a murder tourist spot, essentially. And they wanted to get rid, you're not going to rent this house out to more college kids. They're like, well, look, the rent's down now, guys. Like, what do you mean? I mean, they probably did tear it down a little bit soon. They should have waited until the trial concluded, but it is what it is. Why did the roommates call friends over before 9/11? It's all so weird. I do agree that this is weird, but again, just because it's weird doesn't mean that there's actually something happening. All right, what does this person say? Chicken squint. We'll read a couple of these. I want to see what they're saying. He didn't plead guilty because he's innocent and he's trying to avoid the death penalty. He pled guilty because he's guilty. Oh, so this person is not. This person's coming here to gloat, I believe. They were not winning this case, and the only way to avoid the death penalty was to accept the plea deal. His attorney advised him to take the plea deal. If they thought he had a fighting chance at freedom because he's innocent, they would have fought to the end. This is not true either. I mean, people take plea deals all the time because maybe 5 years in jail is better than, 20 years if you don't take the plea deal. Like, what do these people mean by there's no justice from a plea deal? Because any result from if he had gone to jail, he might not have got the death penalty anyway. He may have just got life in prison, and they would say, "Well, the justice has been served now." No, they wouldn't be happy. They wouldn't be happy with anything. Ann Taylor worked harder at delaying the trial start, and she worked harder at the mitigation phase during the sentencing because she knew this was all she had on behalf of this individual. The second witness, MM and DDD, or DoorDash, I guess, delivery, is only new to us. AT and the prosecution already had her info and eyewitness description many months ago. Defense didn't take the plea because she suddenly came to the picture. She was always in the picture. She was just protected longer. All right, I got to see this DoorDash girl. Who is DoorDash girl? Oh, chickens quit? Is that what it is? Oh, okay, I see. I thought it was chicken squit. Squit. If I search for DoorDash girl, am I going to find this? If there's any hard DoorDash girl Kohberger, is there an interview I can watch for this? Or let's see. I'm not seeing anything. I think it's all just rumors and stuff. Is Court TV talking about? I don't know. I want to see some. I'm going to go through a couple more of these because it's entertaining to me. He's done. He had to agree to forfeit all of his appeal for the pleas. After his sentence, he's completely done. I mean, that's true. The alternative perpetrator theories were disallowed because they lacked motive. What was Bryan Kohberger's motive? I mean, he could have argued that if he went to trial, sure. To commit the perfect killing spree, why did he leave the other roommates alive? He probably didn't see them. How did the other roommates think someone was passed out? So many questions. Well, I mean, they were living in a college flat. There are probably a lot of drunken parties going on over there. What is this? Why is this? Why can't I see this? Okay. Still 100% believe they're involved somehow, I guess, in regards to the other roommates, the surviving roommates. What was the dog's name? Do you remember the dog's name? Everyone was saying the dog did it at some point. As a joke, obviously. Oh, look at this. Good comment here. Can I upvote this? Body language experts are all snake oil salesmen. Let me see. I want to see this now. I've always been on the fence until I watched the forensic psychiatrist on YouTube, Dr. G Explains. During his analysis of Bryan, he noticed that when Xana's name came up, Bryan had some kind of reaction in his body language. Nothing with the others. But there was something that bothered him about Xana. I think he might have been because Xana fought back. Alternatively, he might be hoping that future technology and passing of time will give him another chance to prove his innocence. I mean, this happens. This does happen. I would like to hear the confession and the details in his own words, something about that crime that nobody else knew. There have been many false confessions by people who've just had enough and broke. Body language experts are all snake oil salesmen. All right, let's have a look at Dr. G explains. I want to see this man. What does he say about Bryan Kohberger? Or maybe it's a woman. Dr. G explains. Hey,
everybody, Dr. G.
All right, it's Dr. G. What's up, Dr. G crew? Let's find his Kohberger one. So he's got 350,000 subscribers. Body language and behavior of All right, let's watch this. Wait, is this everybody? Wait, is that the right one? Okay, psychiatrist breaks down Bryan Kohberger's arraignment body language. Okay, this is 7 minutes. We'll watch this on 2 speed or something. So this is Dr. G. All right, and we'll watch this on 1.25 speed. There we go. Also, where's your Iron Rabbit gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much. Be sure to thank the person that gave you a membership. All right, let's check in with Dr. G. And then someone in chat said that body language experts are always men. How prescient was that comment?
Buddy, Dr. G here. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and body language expert, and today we're going to be analyzing more of Bryan Kohberger. We're going to be looking at his arraignment from May 22nd. We're going to see what his
apparently Max is also a body language expert.
Body language tells us when the judge is talking to him. And for people that aren't familiar with this case already, he's being charged with the murder of 4 college students. Before we get started, I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right.
Actually, I got to remind you to like and subscribe as well. But thank you very much. Let's continue. All right, this is a virgin walk. I'm just going to say that. He didn't move his arms when he was walking. Very, very virgin behavior. Obviously an incel, and that was his motivation. Unironically, have you seen the episode of Seinfeld where there's that woman that doesn't move her arms when she walks? We had a guy like that in my high school. we saw that episode of Seinfeld, and then we thought it was just like the perfect. It was just perfect. Because he was in the room. He was in the room when that episode was playing. It was funny. This video is old. I know it's old. But I want to see what Dr. G has to say. Oh, fuck. Is it muted? Great. Well, nothing happened, basically. Stream ruined. We'll start again.
Or if it's done knowing that it's going to be used in the media. I really don't know how much. I remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content.
This is where we were.
All right, let's go.
Thank you. I was muted, yes.
One thing I'm curious about is if this smile is done out of politeness for his attorney, or if it's done knowing that it's going to be used in the media. I really don't know how much access he has to things like the internet, magazines, all of that stuff. But that same smile last time, during the last video, got a lot of mileage. I've seen a lot of people use that exact picture on lots and lots of video covers. Let's go back and look at it again.
I mean, it's just like a polite smile. Is he calculating? He's got like the little things going. He's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to make sure that Reuters gets this picture of me smiling. I mean, maybe, but what does this tell us about the crime?
It's actually a very good fake smile because you can see he's squinting his eyes on the side.
Well, maybe he's happy. What do you mean it's a good fake smile? You don't know if it's fake smile. He could just be happy. Maybe he's been in the hole for like the last 2 weeks, and he's happy to see a person.
And that's what we do when we actually feel happiness. There's no question he's not feeling happy right now, and it leaves his face faster than it entered it. But it doesn't change the fact that he is good at faking a smile. Maybe that's something he's practiced.
How many people in chat practice smiling?
Against you, and the maximum penalties if you are found guilty or if you plead guilty. So I'm going to start with.
So what we're doing now is we're getting a baseline of his behaviors. He nods his head in recognition of what the judge is saying. Occasionally you see a jaw clench.
Objection. How do you know that this is his baseline behavior? He is in trial. He's just sat down. Maybe he has done his and now the entire Bryan Kohberger persona is doing this entire thing. I think to get a baseline of his behavior, you need more than 1 minute and 38 seconds. I'm sorry. I don't find this stuff reputable. It's like, well, this is the base. If I say it's the baseline behavior, then we can look for any deviations in his baseline behavior. It seems a bit sus to me. Like, I think you would need like hours of footage and over several days to get any sign of baseline. And even then, it wouldn't mean anything because when you're in court, it's spooky, it's scary. You probably are nervous, so you're going to deviate from the baseline.
Go back and look at that again.
The right, your rights, the charges against you, and the maximum penalties if you were found.
And there was the jaw clench when he said the maximum penalties. I think that's going to be a real point of, well, obviously it's a real point of stress. It would be for anybody with this. But whether or not the death penalty is going to be on the table, I am pretty sure is on his mind right now.
Guilty, or if you plead guilty. So I'm going to start with the rights. You have a constitutional right. Do you understand these rights?
Yes.
Any questions about the rights?
No.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kohberger.
Very curt, succinct.
One thing to keep in mind, and the other video people have said in the comments, well, what if he's medicated? He seems sluggish and all of this stuff. There's nothing about the way that he's reacting right now that makes me think that he's heavily medicated on anything. He's responding quickly. When they asked him to stand up, he stood up quickly, he sat down quickly. His reactions seem like they're at a normal rhythm.
He has a degree? I mean, in what? We don't know what his doctor is. He could be a chiropractor or something.
So there's nothing right now that would indicate that he's on a bunch of heavy medication.
So let's go to the
Why are we watching this garbage analysis? Because I believe that body language analysis is snake oil, and people are talking about Dr. G, and I wanted to see what. I wanted to see a taste of it. I have to see what they believe.
You have a copy of the indictment in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And you see in the heading your name there. Is that your correctly spelled complete name?
Yes, it is.
Is that the correct birth date underneath your name?
Yes.
Are those the correct last 4 digits of your social security number?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Something we're also seeing is that he nods when he agrees with something. Important to note now, because if he ever takes the stand later, that can become significant.
All right.
Or it could be nothing. I mean, there's just the reality. Like after 2 years in a prison cell, maybe his mannerisms are going to change. I mean, maybe it means something, but maybe it doesn't. This is my problem with body language. It's not particularly useful, and it's all just like, what do you think? Hey, could be good, kind of interesting. I mean, it's not much more different than what I do, but yeah.
I'll read you the charges on the indictment, starting with count 1.
So what we're going to be looking at now is him being read the charges. Now, I want to watch the jaw, because what we see, one of his tells in terms of that he's feeling something is that he clenches his jaw. That can be associated with stress and also be associated with anger. I can't say which.
Maybe he had like food before he went into the courtroom, and he's got something stuck in his teeth, and he's just trying to get it out.
One he's feeling, but he's feeling something. Let's see if there's a pattern to when that happens.
About Idaho did unlawfully enter a residence located at 1122 King Road, Moscow, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder.
As you can see right now, he's pretty composed. We're not seeing a whole lot of body language about this so far, but let's keep watching. Let's briefly watch the intensity of his reactions when you go through each person. I'm just going to show a little clip, but I'm going to show a little clip of each one. Watch this.
Kill and murder Madison Mogan, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogan, from which she died.
Very little reaction, looking down for the most part.
Kill.
I mean, he moved his lip. Even I noticed that, but I don't think it means anything.
Murder Kayla Gonzalez, a human being, by stabbing Kayla Gonzalez, from which she died. Count 4.
All right, mostly looking down. Didn't seem to be much clenching.
What is this one? Hold on a sec. I'm reading Dr. G's body language, and I've concluded he's full of shit. I mean, he needs some chapstick. He's got very dry lips. He needs some moisture on those.
Kill and murder Zayna Kernodle. Excuse me. This is hard. I'm sorry. Zayna Kernodle, a human being, by stabbing Zayna Kernodle, from which she died.
You see a lot of jaw clenching and him looking up and down.
I mean, to me, it looked like he was almost laughing at the guy for mispronouncing her name. It looked like he was trying to keep his composure. Sure, I agree, but what does that mean? And how is this useful to the case?
Murder Ethan Chapin, a human being, by stabbing Ethan Chapin, from which he died.
Oh my goodness. Chapstick is literally snake oil. It makes your lips drier, thus making you use more chapstick. This is not true. I don't believe this. I have some chapstick right here. I don't very rarely use it, but I do have it. It's that it's actually made pretty close to here. It's apparently it's a pretty famous one. Every time I mention chapstick, people get like unhinged. They're like, cancer, sunscreen causes cancer and chapstick causes dry lips. I don't think so. It's 100% true. It just makes your lips shiny and still chapped. I don't know about that.
And he looks more calm.
Any chapstick bros in the chat?
This one than any of the other ones, but there doesn't seem to be that same level of tension. Now, does this mean he did it? Not necessarily, but it does mean he was feeling different things when the 4 different names were read, and that's worth paying attention to. Now we're actually going to watch a different video for this part, because in this video it closes up on his face, and I want you to be able to see the details, because this, I think, is consequential. Let's start watching.
2022 in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Zaina Kernodal.
So his jaw starts clenching as soon as Zaina's name is brought up.
Excuse me. This is hard. I'm sorry. Zaina Kernodal, a human being, by stabbing Zaina Kernodal.
He's a lot more. It's funny to say the word animated because I know he's very still. He's looking at the judge more. He's clenching his jaw a lot more. There's definitely a more visceral reaction from him during this than the other ones.
From which she died.
Part of the reason that body language analysis can be helpful is it helps us hone in on what elicits a reaction. Why that's eliciting a reaction, we'd find out with more investigation.
This is illicit clips he's playing us.
But it tells us
a bad joke,
if we were to really focus on one of the 4 victims, based on this, I would focus on Zaina. Now, I don't know if there's a special connection with her. I don't know why he reacted strongly to her, but that's the one I would focus on, and I would press him on if he was providing testimony, for example, and I was a prosecutor. That's one that I would hope that I would get a stronger reaction out of.
And people are saying it's because she fought back. Like I believe they found some DNA, like blood or something under it. Something like that, right? Like there was some evidence. No, it was like scratches or damage to her hands, like defensive wounds. That's as I recall. Yeah, it was defensive wounds. That's right.
So hopefully this video is helping you continue to develop a baseline about his behavior. I know there's a lot of people that believe that he is innocent, and we're going to find out over the course of the trial. But at the very least, we're getting an idea.
This didn't age very well. Spoiler alert, we're not going to learn over the course of the trial.
Idea of what behaviors he shows under pressure, and it helps us better understand the things that we should focus on and pay attention to. Hopefully we get to see this trial. We don't know whether or not it's going to air on the internet or on TV yet, but if it does, I can assure you I'll be covering it a lot more.
There you go. Dr. G explained it to us. Like I said,
hey everybody, Dr. G here.
He's got a much better microphone now. Let's do this.
Hey everybody, Dr. G here. I'm a clinical and
his lips are still fucking dry. It's been 2 years, bro. Get some damn chapstick. Includes a paid promotion. What is a paid promotion? I want to see what's his at. What is he shilling? What is he shilling? Liver King supplements. Oh, My Heritage. Nope, that's not going to happen. I've been watching the Kohberger thing. That's not going to happen. I would love to get my DNA tested and find out where I'm from or connect with X family. That's not going to happen now. This is not going to happen. Oh dear. Give us it like no, that's not going to happen. Liver King was such like. Speaking of Liver King for a second, this guy was so stupid. Like it'd be like eating like raw eggs and egg shells and raw meat and shit. He's like, I'm totally natty. Yeah. It's like, of course you're on a fucking massive stack. And now he's like fighting. He wants to fight Joe Rogan or something. I knew from the first time I saw Liver King that he was going to be insane in a few years later. All right, but that's we've got for that. All right, now there's some stuff I do have. People wanted me to talk about the Aaron Eam Holte restraining order, and I said yesterday there was very little to talk about, and that's still true today. But there is the details of the harassment restraining order against Nick Rekieta. Again, there's not very much to see here, but there is one detail I would like to point out. So this is like a 2 minutes tops. And that is that people were going through this. And where is it? I believe it's on the last page. Is it this one? I saw it earlier. I probably should have had this ready to go. Give me a second. There's a lot of pages here, Scarecrow. Help me out here. There was a line in Aaron's request. And some people, I just want to make a clarification that some people are a little bit confused about this. But in Aaron's petition, he requests that Nick does not talk about him online. And unfortunately, the judge does not actually grant that. And I wanted to point that out. I can't find it now. Oh, here it is. Okay, yeah, it's on this one. All right, so this is in the request what Aaron asked for. Was this from Minnesota Public Records? I didn't see that. Okay, thank you, Minnesota Public Records. But in Aaron's request, he requests a reasonable distance. So this is Nick would have to keep a reasonable distance or surrounding area from his home, specifically as follows: 1,000 feet should be sufficient, and no online mentions. And people were kind of pointing out this because, well, like, Nick cannot stop talking about Aaron, obviously. Now, unfortunately, that does not matter, because when you actually see what was granted, and the granting, I think it's this one, right? You can see here the ones that they've chosen. It says respondent shall have no direct or indirect contact with the petitioner. Relief granted does not extend to the petitioner's minor children or persons subject of guardianship. Respondent is prohibited from being within 1,000 feet of petitioner's house at, and then that's Aaron's house has been redacted, but it does not say anything about being online. And if you go through all of this, there is nothing about that. Unfortunately, it seems that, what is it, Todd Peterson, Aaron's lawyer, really should never accepted the don't talk about Kayla provision in his restraining order, but they agreed to it immediately, basically. So Nick is free to talk to, or no, sorry, not, he's not allowed to talk to Aaron. He's free to talk about Aaron online, as this would say. Now, there is an argument that can be made that I believe is on. Let me see. Sorry, this is a lot of pages here. There is definitely an argument that can be made that, let's see. Oh, this is what Aaron. This is a part of Aaron's request. Sorry, because this is what he filled out. All right, so if we go back to this one. So the best argument that I've seen from people so far, but it's not a strong one really, in my opinion at least. Respondent should have no direct or indirect contact with the petitioner. Nick has been responding to Aaron's tagged tweets. Well, like people that have tagged Aaron in their tweets, essentially. You could definitely make an argument that is indirect conduct. Realistically, I don't think it's going to happen. It would be funny, but I don't think so. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the judge is going to look the other way, and that is what I would imagine. But you never know. You never know. And it would be interesting for endless seething to be the cause that this all gets knocked up again. But unlikely. But you never know. You never know. So there you go. There you go. I think that's all we got for you today. What time is it? 11 o'clock? Because we were going to play some dinosaur games today. But I cut out the dinosaurs so we could talk about Kohberger. There was also, I was trying to find a good screen to relay something. Then we want to play like an hour or two of dinosaurs tonight. Do people want to see dinosaurs games happening? I'll have a quick vote in the chat. We'll see. We'll see how many people would watch a dinosaur stream if we start playing right now. Dinos games. This is a okay. I need 20 people to go subscribe to that Dino channel. I want to play Trudon again. Unfortunately, I stayed up. I stayed up watching Squid Game Season 3, which is actually just Season 2, Part 2. I don't think it's as bad as people are claiming it is, but there is a point where it gets a little bit worse, and it gets to a point where it's very obvious how it's going to end. But I think there was a few good emotional payoffs and a few good episodes of Squidios. But for some reason, nobody's talking about Squid Games at all. So I guess it wasn't very well received for most people. I enjoy listening to my Koreans talk about stuff. I did see that Moist Critical put out a video saying Season 3 of Squid Game is bad. I think that was all it was titled. But the ending wasn't as satisfying as I would have liked. All right, if 20 people go subscribe to this channel and chat right now, I will load up a dinosaur stream. I'll probably do it anyway. So it's like, that's the grift for you there. Thought Season 2 is pretty good. I mean, are you including Season 2 and Season 3 together? Because the reality is that Season 2 and 3 are the same season. They're just been split up. It's like 6 episodes on each of them, right? For some reason, they decided to cut it in half, probably for more money. I think the games were. I really liked the hide and seek. I thought the hide and seek episode was good. It was kind of stupid though, because like, sorry, I was gonna spoil one of the games. I won't do it. But I remember in season 1, I was like, man, I can't wait to see what the last game they play is, and then it's like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I was like, can't wait to see what the last game they play is in this season too. Oh dear. All right, I'll load up the stream on the other thing, but I'll keep talking. I'll keep talking because then I can stream raid my own channel, which would be very elite move. So bear with me for just a second. You've only got one account. You should be registering. No, I can't say that actually. I can't say that. Let's see. All right, we'll schedule stream. We're going to be playing Trudons. Do I have a Trudon? Yeah, here we go. Reuse settings. Trudon. So Trudons are like these little chicken-sized dinosaurs that jump on people and bite them and run away, but then they die one thing. All right. The stream should be instantly set up. That's actually very convenient how this works. Next, visibility. We'll say it starts in 5 minutes, but it starts as soon as I get everything set up. July 1st. Oh my goodness, congratulations. I should play Eroge instead. That's not going to happen. Not on stream anyway. All right. I will put the link to the gaming channel stream in the chat. Get shareable link. There you go. I'll pin that comment. There you go. Go click on that link, go subscribe, and I will stream raid you there as well. 66% of the poll said Dino Gaming, so it's Dino Gaming time. And now we'll just switch over to this channel and stream raid ourselves. The camera might not work though, because we'll see. I'm sure it'll be fine. But thank you for joining me. If you're not going to enjoy the Dino Gaming, then thank you for being here. And I guess this is the end. This is the open and shut case, essentially. It's been a long journey, through almost 3 years. Surprised to see where it goes, but let me see. What should we play us out on? All right, guys. We'll be over in the dinos in just a second. Stay in the chat. I'll send you over in theory, and peace.
Now it's time to see which of our stories are based. Was this story based? Yes. Was this story based? Yes, it was.
If you thought this story was based, you're right.
This tale of a mysterious force